I shouldn't have just trusted that you all were telling me the truth. That was my fault.
That's what you get for trusting people who give you money for a living.
I don't want you all to see my desktop. Close that.
I don't want
Full
your
screen
money.
this.
What is that supposed to mean?
Don't look at my desktop.
Show me your secrets.
No.
Oh, someone
Alright.
someone said since we reached that donation goal, he can use that with the whopping $20 to buy a sticker to make his computer go faster.
Yeah. Alright, so we're
Give
here.
the computer some enrichment.
I pop out the chat. Pop out chat.
Are we back up?
We're back live. Hello. How's it going?
Hi.
Hello.
Alright, we will give people a minute to file back in here.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll just do that same. So it would probably be faster if I just. I'm searching for a specific post. I said this while you were gone trying to handle the crash. But there is a specific post that like my brain immediately went to when I saw Sayaka reacting to how Toko and Tangerine were like getting closer. It was a specific post, and it's not funny if I don't remember all of it. So I have to I have to find it so I can quote it more directly.
Alright, so just so everybody knows, in part 1, we had a successful goal of people donating money, and as a reward, I got money. But now that the stream has crashed, that goal has been erased. We don't have it anymore.
No!
So I'm gonna go ahead and put up a new goal. 1 donation of any amount of money, and we will be back to having that successful goal on stream. And that is the reward, is that we will have done it. Alright. What's up, Scrub?
Like
Welcome back. So we were talking about how the characters in Bloom into You don't have any chemistry. And they don't...
Yeah.
I kind of think that's fine. I would prefer that they had chemistry if this were a love story, but I'm gonna hesitantly say it's not.
What?
I'm gonna give you a second to be like, I'm gonna hesitantly suggest...
That's not true.
I'm gonna hesitantly suggest that this is a coming-of-age story.
Ooh.
I mean, it's not mutually exclusive, is it?
Yeah, those can be the same thing.
You're right. Thank you very much, Brum. We have done it. We have achieved our goal.
Yes.
We now have a successful goal in chat. So, if you really want to push yourselves and see if you can do it again, YouTube isn't letting me hit the start a new goal button. We're gonna do something crazy here. By the end of the stream, 10 super chats of any time. Why is my voice lower and staticky? Why did nobody tell me?
Wait, it must have just went back. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, I think the static is coming from
Maybe
me.
the stream sounds worse. I don't know.
I have a fan going,
Look,
which I usually don't, but it's...
I'm just used to it by this point.
Sound
I
settings.
don't mind the deep Brian.
Device properties. Additional device properties. Advanced. 48,000 hertz. Apply. Hear me.
Oh.
Now
This is
it's
so
really,
jarring, and you okay?
you can, okay, we can hear you, but you sound almost like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Whoa, that's fucking crazy.
No.
Can you all in chat hear me, and do I sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes,
Well,
you
not
do.
you in Discord, you in YouTube chat. This is insane. That has never happened before.
This is phenomenal.
I sound like a malfunctioning robot, so high-pitched. Alright, let's check my mic here. See, the thing is that Discord
Emasculated
says
in
I'm
like a
doing
second.
fine.
Hey, Bloom into you, am I right?
Bloom into you. You are right.
Bloom into you.
Sample rate 48,000 hertz. Desktop audio device. Mic audio device. We're gonna make sure that that is this one. Okay. Nothing has changed, right, in the YouTube chat?
Well, they're behind, so.
Mm-hmm. Main speakers,
This is so
professional
fucking
mic.
funny.
See, the crazy thing is that Discord. I clicked the mic check button and listened back to myself, and it was normal. Okay, you sound better on the YouTube chat, so we are getting. Oh, we did mic check, Scrub. Don't you worry.
I tried.
Well, clearly it didn't work.
Yeah, whose fault is
Clearly,
that?
If Scrub was here, we would have figured this out by now.
Mm-hmm. So YouTube chat says I sound fine now. That's
well,
insane.
you still sound a little high pitched, but it's not like bad.
Wait, I didn't change anything in Discord. What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
I didn't change anything
no, I'm
in
saying
Discord.
When you went into your high pitch, you still sound the same. I'm saying, but you don't. It doesn't sound so bad that we can't like have the conversation. If YouTube sounds fine, then it's fine.
YouTube apparently sounds fine. Like, I guess I can listen to the stream a little bit if I go out of my way. So I'm gonna open that, and I'm gonna listen to this.
Like, have the conversation.
Okay.
If YouTube sounds fine, then it's fine.
YouTube apparently sounds fine. YouTube sounds fine. I just listened to it.
Okay.
Alright, the static is not me, Loner. That's another person's mic. Alright.
Having to scroll through this amount of Deltarune just to find that stupid post. You can tell what I was doing instead of watching the anime this month.
You're gonna be scrolling for a while.
Alright. So back onto the actual topic here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were trying to say like that it's a coming of age story and not a romance.
I'm not saying it's
Or,
not
like,
a
I guess-
romance. I'm saying that I would not classify it as a romance. Just in the same way that I wouldn't classify The Office as a comedy, I would classify it as a romance. But like,
okay, alright.
I've never seen The Office.
So I think.
Of course you haven't.
Yeah. Jams, can you go into push to talk mode?
Oh, yeah, hold on.
I think that the main focus of Bloom Into You is not on the romance element between Toko and Orange Girl. It's more about how they grow as people and come into themselves. And I think that the way that they... Let us see the Discord window again, please. Sure. Sorry. I think that the way that their relationship advances has... I think that the reason we're watching their relationship is not to see their relationship advance, it's to see each of them individually change.
Is that not what a romance would do anyway?
Not necessarily.
What is the essence of a romance then?
The essence of a romance is to watch a relationship change. So for example, the romance in... Let me open Mal because I can never think of examples off the top of my head.
Well, hold on. Okay, you say relationship. It's to see a relationship change, right? Is that not what is happening in this show?
It is, because the show is a romance. I'm just saying it's not primarily a romance. There's a difference.
So
there's a difference between each of
essentially
these
in the
people changing
tags.
individually and the relationship between these two people changing. And I don't think that the main thing we are watching this show for is to see the relationship between these two people change. I think that the main reason we're watching this show is to see how this relationship changes each of them individually.
Makes sense.
Okay, I understand
mean-
what you're saying. I think it is I don't know, it seems pretty pedantic, but I'm fine with it. I'm not gonna argue about like what is a romance and what's not. Like if in the like for the show it was like not slice of life, coming of age, and then right next to it romance instead of romance being first, I wouldn't bat an eye. Like you just be like, all right, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah. So, like, for example, I'm gonna say MMO Junkie is a romance. Because MMO Junkie is about these two people and how they get closer to each other and eventually begin dating. That is a romance. Bloom Into You I think Bloom Into You would be fundamentally a very similar show if these two were not dating.
Okay, well, okay, so then let me put it this way, if I'm understanding your point right. You're saying that the romance aspects of this show are entirely instrumental to the coming of age aspect, so that they come to age through their like flowering romantic relationship.
That is what I'm saying, yes.
Okay. Yeah, then I think I understand the point, and I guess I don't disagree. I can't think of any reason to.
For what it's worth, it doesn't have a romance tag on Mal? What?
What, really?
Wait,
I'm
no
checking
way.
that now. Bloom Into You.
Let's see who can check first. Drama Girls Love. I mean,
It has girls' love. Close enough. It should
Yeah,
have a
it's a
romance tag,
subgenre.
but
it's
I
included.
think
in the
it's
idea of
incredibly
girls' love.
pedantic to say that it has a girls' love tag, not a romance tag.
I think, yeah. I mean, that in girls' love, romance is implied,
Yep.
right? Like that should be the case.
You're
Not
not
all.
gonna
I mean,
disagree
not
on
all
this.
Yuri is romance. You're right.
That is true.
I guess you're right.
That is true.
Okay, but we're not
That is
talking about
true.
that.
I think all that means is that it should have a romance tag, and that it not having a romance tag is a mistake.
Yeah, I would
Right.
I would probably say that this is a romance first and foremost. I mean, I get your point why it's more of a coming of age. I'm totally okay with that. But also like the romance in this show, right? How, because we were talking about the characters' chemistry and why we didn't think they had that much, and why, you know, we think maybe a younger audience would latch on to this show more than an older audience would. I think it is also because of the physical aspect of their relationship, right? Like,
I think
even though in the even though in the anime it's tame, right? I think because it's more sexually explicit in the manga, that they hear about it and they go, "I'll watch the anime, right? Why not?" Like, and then they
Wait,
get into it, and it's what's up.
It is like I mean, maybe it wasn't clear from before, but I basically didn't know anything about the show before watching it, other than it's gay and it aired in 2018.
Yeah.
So I didn't know like it was actually more sexually explicit. So I have to ask, like, near the end there was like a scene where they're together in Yu's room. Did they actually have sex in the manga there? Or like what are
I
examples
have
of what
no
you're talking
idea.
about?
I have not read the manga. I only know, like, again, this is the first time I'm interacting with the series. The only thing that I knew coming in was that it was more sexually explicit in the Yuri, which I was like, oh, okay. But like, that's one of the reasons why I was like, okay, people like this show because there is sex.
I never heard that, but
Well,
I also never heard that.
but somebody in the chat did bring it up earlier, and I think it was Veronica, where one of the things that the Yuri community, and I don't purport to be an expert about this, I'm just repeating what I was told, but
okay.
One of the things in the Yuri community that was so groundbreaking about this show was how it handled the sexual relationship between the two characters. which is something that's usually not made explicit unless it's made very explicit for that express purpose. And it reminds me of something that was said about the musical Fun Home, which I think most people here are familiar with. Fun Home.
I don't watch musicals. I'm sorry, Brian.
I said most people. 3 out of 4. Fun Home is a musical adaptation of Alison Bechdel's memoir Fun Home, wherein there is a song called Changing My Major, which is about the main character having sex for the first time and going absolutely crazy. It's an adorable song about this girl having sex with her girlfriend and being like, holy shit, I want to do nothing else for the rest of my life. And that song was highly praised because of how much lesbian relationships, the sexual element, is either fetishized or ignored. And I think that that is something that people praised the show for a lot, and I think it probably deserves it, for just treating the sexual element as part of the relationship instead of being the point of the show or not existing at all.
Yeah. Because it's what?
In the middle.
Yeah, because it's there.
Yeah, because in that same vein, right? I also think, like, I don't know how to describe this. Like, I was thinking about this while I was watching, and it was like hard for me to articulate. I think this show also reflects like the idea of the modern like situationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like these two people who are not dating but are definitely physically active with each other, even though one doesn't like them and the other one is madly in love with them, and it's messy and it's emotional. I think that is, and there's a lot of physical action going on. I think that is one of the biggest draws to the show as well, like, because it is on its face, like, it's there, right? The sex is there.
Mm-hmm.
Without, as you said, being ignored or fetishized, right? And it reflecting, I think, a lot of younger people's, in this day and age, probably their experience with that.
Sure.
I think people are look at that, like, however old you are, but I think people probably look at that and they go, oh, this is new, this is for me.
So yeah, that's why I think it's not all that big of a deal that the main characters don't have a whole lot of romantic chemistry, because I don't think their romantic chemistry is the point.
Yeah. Well, for as much time as they spend together and as much time that I have to watch them spend together, I would like that for them to have chemistry, because then it's just boring.
I would also prefer that they had more chemistry. But I don't think it's a big deal that they don't.
I'm gonna be honest, I've never understood what anyone means when they say the word chemistry about a pair of characters. I've never understood it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean,
their dynamic together, this? How they seem to actually like each other and play off of each other, and how they emphasize each other's character traits in a positive way that is entertaining for the viewer to watch.
I mean,
yeah.
I want to express this specifically through what happens in the show, because that would maybe say the best. Like, I think the fact that they fall in love with each other at all in the first place is kind of contrived.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's there because this is a Yuri.
Yep.
You're not gonna have a Yuri thing if you don't have girls like each other. And obviously, Takao, the senpai, she falls in love with her basically at first sight in the first episode, seemingly just because Yu is aromantic. That's kind of stupid, if we're gonna be entirely honest. And then, like, sure, Yu doesn't fall in love with her right away. Makes the show interesting. But when she does, I think I said this in the Discord chat, it feels like it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, as a part, it has to happen because it's a Yuri show, this kind of development. But I don't know, it's just like, okay, they kissed, and that's enough for her to get up and about this.
I don't know. I did
And
think
like,
it was
there's
sudden, but I
nothing
don't think it
deeper.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think it's sudden in a way where you say it just happens. I think that reflects a lot of people's actual experience with love in that it just happened. Like, because I know what scene you're talking about. It's like it's sports day and Toko is like running in the race
No,
and
I think
Koito
Tenek
is
is
just
talking about the first scene. End of episode 1.
I mean, I was talking about both. I was talking
No,
about both
yeah.
with respect to the two of their characters, respectively.
Yeah. Because what I'm referring to specifically is when Tenek was talking in the Discord chat about how Koito is looking at Toko running in the race, in the sports day race, and you clearly get the vibe where it's like, oh yeah, now she is in love with her.
She has bloomed into her. Roll credits.
We've done it.
We've done it. Everyone go home. But I think I mean, I did not mind that scene. I could understand why you would. But to me, it really just seemed like, because it's something so, like, I think they were trying to make a point of like, it's something so innocuous and they're not it's not a romantic moment. It's just a moment of her viewing Toko and just looking at her, giving, an honest effort, really wanting to win this race, and there's just something that clicks, and Koito goes, oh, okay, like, I think, now I'm starting to feel something, but unsure if that's what love actually is.
Okay, I want to reply to this. I think it's gonna complete the answer I want to give to Stars as a whole. So yeah, I mean, I understand that, like, love, that is how people can experience love, that it just, like, hits you. And I don't think that's necessarily a problem that it happens. I think the issue for me is that there is nothing deeper to it than that. Nothing deeper to it just hitting, and it seemingly just hitting maybe in correlation to the physical contact they've had. What I think the idea of chemistry involves would be that there is some kind of, like, I don't know, fittedness or synergy that a pair of people have for each other that makes it make sense why they would fall in love with each other, even if, as far as their immediate experience goes, it just happened. And I feel like that fittedness is not here particularly because the characters are kind of. I think that's it. I don't think I have more to say.
There is one thing
Does that
I
make
want to
sense,
point out
Stars?
here. Oh yeah, sorry. We'll make sure James gets it.
Okay. I understand what you mean when you say these characters don't have chemistry to you, in the sense of, like, you feel like the show did not convincingly build their relationship in a way that is both entertaining and plausible.
Yeah.
Maybe I just have a fundamentally different view of relationships as a whole, from most people. But, like, it's like, I struggle with the concept of, air quotes, character chemistry overall. And I was very convinced by, like, the setup of the relationship itself, in the sense of, like, it's very unbalanced from the jump, and then the two of them are essentially just scrambling around one another, trying to keep this thing from falling apart completely, because both of them know there's something of value to be had here. And, like, I think that's an interesting dynamic to look at. And, like, the idea of the characters don't have romantic chemistry, air quotes, I'm like, that doesn't enter my brain, and I also don't even understand what the concept of romantic chemistry on screen even is. So that's a me thing, I guess.
That is a good point.
maybe.
is that part of saying these characters don't have chemistry in a romantic context is saying I don't believe that these characters are actually attracted to each other, and they aren't. I feel like we're not considering here.
But
they're not.
I mean, but that's only true for you in like the first
Mm-hmm.
3/4 of the show.
I say all the show.
So I don't think
Okay.
it's true.
I don't know. I would definitely say by the last few episodes, it's pretty clear to me that the series wants them to have romantic chemistry. And obviously this is not where the series ends. Like the manga keeps going, but like it just does not, like their date in the aquarium in the last episode, it just doesn't hit for me. I don't really feel that much from it. And that's definitely a part in the show, in the series, where they want you to be like, hey, these two characters are finally starting to act like a couple.
Awesome lesbian couple.
Mm-hmm.
So like I understand, like Jams, I totally understand your point, right? Especially with the first, probably front of the series, how it's like, they're not supposed to have a functional relationship because there is not supposed to be any chemistry there, and it's all jumbled up, right? But by the end of the series, where they're supposed to have kind of settled in, not fully obviously, but they're supposed to be like settling in to their dynamic. Maybe it's because the first half was so messy on purpose that the back half seems like it doesn't track, it doesn't follow.
Fair. Yeah, the front half is messy a bit organically, and the back half is messy very artificially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I also think like, because I mean we're I don't know if we're at all going to get into the episodes, but in episode 1, right? The promise of the premise is set up, right? For these two girls to be aromantic, right? And to completely and like just rip the Band-Aid off suddenly to be like, I think I'm falling in love with you, apropos of basically nothing. It's like, all right, we're going this way with the characters now, and it's like, all right, okay, well, let's like, there are not many moments that catch me off guard in series. Like I've seen a lot, but I was like, all right. And then in the next episode, where she kisses her just abruptly, I'm like, whoa, like it seemed to me like we were fast forwarding kind of to get to, I don't know, really big like shock value Yuri moments at the cost of actually trying to build up these characters a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Like the series wants to get its foot in the door and get you hooked with the idea that like, yes, these two are gonna make out a lot. And then it's like, all right, well, that seems like it's it. That seems like that's the biggest hook. These characters outside of that are not, they're not that interesting.
And that's something that somebody else brought up, sort of. You guys know Sakura Trick?
Never heard of it.
I don't think
What the hell is that?
Sakura Trick is, I hesitate to even call it a bad show, because it's a nothing show. There's nothing about this show.
Oh,
Sakura
it's a show?
Trick is about 2 high school girls who kiss each other. And the entire show is just these girls finding ways to kiss each other. There's no romance. I mean, I guess there is, but it's not the point. There's no romance. There's no sexual tension. There's no plot. It's just different situations wherein these girls make out. And it feels to me...
I mean, I don't feel like this show is that bad.
It's not. That's
like,
not what I'm saying at all. That's not what I'm saying
it.
at all. I feel like if this show had decided to be a more complicated version of Sakura Trick, I could have respected it. Like, if you have 2 aromantic people, getting together and trying their absolute damnedest to understand what this romance thing is about with people they do like and people they do find sexually attractive. And just trying to explore that and desperately trying to find this romantic connection that they have heard so much about. I think that would have been so much more compelling than trying to become your dead sister. Like, I think that this show had potential in that basic idea and decided not to go with it.
Okay, so
Dude, I was
I don't
drinking
think I
water.
agree, honestly.
version of Sakura trick. When you said complicated version, my brain immediately went to, yeah, it could be like a sub element in like a Phineas and Ferb style.
Did you say Phineas and Ferb style?
It's the B plot of Phineas and Ferb.
Yes, okay, what I mean is Phineas and Ferb is a highly formulaic show. The formula is Phineas and Ferb build a thing. Candace is trying to bust them. Perry the Platypus is trying to stop Dr. Doofenshmirtz from whatever he is doing. And there is like a various other casts of characters that can rotate in and out, and they have their own deals going on. It's like a highly complex web of relationships.
Jams.
But the plot always what? Yes.
Jams, my computer crashed, so I didn't have to hear this.
What? No, not again.
No,
You
Tenek,
can't. You gotta be.
Tenek, you're fine. It's just,
Wait.
it was trying to protect me.
Okay,
It cut
I
out
panicked.
literally everything that
was-
Jim said.
It was trying to protect me, and it failed because I decided in my hubris to bring the stream back. I should have taken the hint.
Oh, now I understand.
Okay, that was the joke. Okay.
That it crashed literally as I started talking.
Yeah.
How would I have told you that?
Oh,
How would I have said that with my microphone into my computer for you to hear?
I don't know. I thought perhaps that like it had crashed and I was going for a little while, and then you came back.
No. Please.
Oh,
If I weren't in the room, people would know.
But yeah, what I meant was that it would be like a facet of like a show that has like 50 different moving parts, a la Phineas and Ferb.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think if...
Okay, but
No, go ahead, Tenek.
go ahead, finish.
No, I was gonna
I
repeat
wanted to ask,
myself.
like, what's the deal? Like, why do you guys have such a problem with Taco's dead sister?
Because it
it's
comes out of
stupid.
fucking nowhere, man.
Because it's a dumb idea.
No, it doesn't.
It's fucking
No.
dumb.
No, Tom
I don't
is
agree.
not right.
I think
It
it's
doesn't
fine.
come out of nowhere. It's very well foreshadowed, and it's established, and we understand why it's happening, and it's dumb anyway.
No, no,
Why?
no, no, no,
What's
no, no,
dumb
no, no,
about
hold
this?
on.
Because that's
Hold on,
not
hold
how
on.
people act. People don't do that.
Hold on, wait. When
I
I
don't know
say it
about
comes
that.
out of nowhere, I mean like emotionally, right? Yes, it was clearly like established, it was foreshadowed, and she's like, I have to become my sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like when I say it comes out of nowhere, I mean like it to your point, like yes, it's so fucking stupid, and nobody talks or thinks or acts like that at all, that the idea itself arrived from nothing.
No, nobody
know.
ever takes Toko and is like, "You're doing what?"
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean your sister's ghost is haunting the narrative?
And instead, they're like, "How about we seemingly unknowingly make a school play that perfectly
Yeah, like,
mirrors your ridiculous psychological situation."
Without
then-
anyone besides you really knowing.
And then when your girlfriend maybe notices that that's happening, she doesn't say anything about it. Nobody says, "Huh, that's kind of weird that this just happened." Like this
Wait, by
this is
her girlfriend,
specifically.
do you mean you or Sayaka?
I mean Orange Girl. But this
Orange Girl?
specifically is
What-
the part where my brain went back to John Green books. It's the heavy-handed metaphor that none of the characters seem to know is happening.
But I don't think that's true. Oh, I mean, well, so wait, you're just talking about the contents of the story of, and like how they
Look,
don't. I
no,
mean,
no,
like
no.
clearly
Okay.
you understands the metaphorical. That's
Yes,
the,
I know,
why
and that
near
is
the
part
end
of the
series-
problem, is that you
What-
understands that this is a heavy-handed metaphor, and goes along with it.
Look, like contextually, right? If we're working back, like the idea of the play itself, right? It's like I don't even remember the girl's name who's writing the play.
It doesn't
right?
matter.
Writer
Author
girl,
Arthur.
author girl,
Arthur.
Arthur. Yeah, Arthur. Arthur keeps asking around and is like, what is Toko's personality like? And
Mhm.
nobody can give her a straight answer besides, what you see is what you get, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Koito knows, but is not letting her in. But, right? So Arthur takes that and goes, well, if we only know, right, one thing, it's like, well, what if we took that character and we made it so nobody, like, everybody had these different perspectives on her, and is just like playing right into
Mm-hmm.
the idea that, oh, this, Toko's dead sister, everybody had these different, things that they knew about her. And it's like, okay, man, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have to spend the entire back half of the series exploring this idea. And they didn't even finish it. They didn't even finish the play. Like, we didn't even get to see that. So, like, what the fuck?
It was, again, as a 30-year-old man, very insulting to think that it felt like the show was saying, you, viewer, obviously do not understand the complicated character dynamic that I have portrayed here. So allow me to explain to you what's going on in Toko's head. R.e., her dead sister situation. You see, Toko, like the main character of the play, does not have a true idea of what her identity is. She also, like the main character of the play, has been putting on these performances for everyone in her life. It was...
I mean, okay, it's kind of contrived, but I don't think that's yeah, it mirrors it. I think that's good writing. I'm just gonna be entirely
I'm
honest.
sorry.
I don't think there's any problem.
No, that was very mean, and I apologize. I was just so taken aback. Like I have a friend once. We were sitting down for dinner, and at one point, my wife and I were talking, and we just mentioned the words "the best television show of all time," and we were just having this conversation about the idea of the best television show of all time. And our friend was sitting there nodding along, and they said to us, like, yeah, of course, we all know what the best television show of all time is, right? And she said, yeah, Lost.
No!
And I just stopped, and because this is a person I respect. I don't know much about their taste in media. This isn't an extremely close friend, just someone we hang out with now and again. I'm like, and I made a face that must have been so cruel.
And you're saying this is another moment just like this?
Yes, I
You
am.
just respect me less as a person because I think Blooming to you is not that bad in being kind of heavy-handed.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, that's right.
So fucking funny.
And I do
really
respect you enough to tell you that straight up.
I appreciate that. I do.
I apologize. But no, this whole play situation, I get where you're coming from, where mirroring your main themes in your narrative is good writing, you're right. But not like this. Not like this.
I
What's
think
the
it's
problem,
also
then?
Oh my goodness.
because the idea is so stupid. Like
That is
the
the big
idea
thing.
that the idea that she's like, I have to become my sister. I have to embody this person.
That isn't even what we're talking about. I'm pretty sure we're just talking about the school play as a metaphor, right?
Well, yes,
Yeah.
but like
the problem
that's
with that is not that the idea is stupid, which it is, but the big problem is that diegetically it doesn't make sense. Within the narrative, it gets in the way. Because the idea that the characters themselves could have this idea to have a school play that by pure coincidence mirrors the internal struggle of a character. The internal struggle that I need to point out is already fucking stupid.
is so stupid.
That is a
but
side
that's what
point.
I mean.
That is a side point. That perfectly mirrors the internal struggle of one of the two main characters that we, the audience, have been watching this entire time, and that we, the audience, have been figuring out and dealing with since the beginning of the story. To have that explicitly reframed and shown to the audience in a different context feels like the show thinks that we are so stupid that we cannot possibly understand what's going on with this horribly complicated character unless the show explicitly tells us in this other context. This is not something that people do, for one, so it doesn't make sense in the narrative. And from a metatextual standpoint, it just feels like the story thinks I'm an idiot. So those are my problems with it, really.
Honestly, with how long the whole arc of the play goes on, I would say the story knows you're an idiot and wants you to feel like that.
Because who else would still be reading by this point?
Because who else would still be going? Because it goes on for fucking ever.
I can't speak to that. Haven't read the manga, don't plan to.
No. I'm talking about in the anime. I don't know what.
God.
I have no idea when it ends in the manga. But like, I think the idea.
I'm
it's
sorry.
true.
What?
I think the idea. I think the idea that it like Toko's so stupid. She's just so dumb. And like the whole like I can buy, right, that a character writes a play about this topic, right? That's not the issue.
That'll give you.
Right? It is the fact that Toko has like this super hyper specific conflict, internal conflict that then the show mirrors, right? But the internal conflict, I could totally buy if she didn't have this internal conflict and the play just played out.
Yep.
Right? Like if we never went into this whole dead sister thing, because previously this was a thing that Koito and Toko had talked about, like, oh, she puts on a front, and then okay, the play mirrors this thing where these characters are putting on a front, whatever. But the fact that the dead sister thing is so like ridiculously stupid is what completely breaks the entire plot line. It is the fact that Toko is an idiot.
For sure. I don't have a problem with the play in and of itself. I buy this play as something that would be written by a competent high schooler. Like,
yes.
it's got a good idea, and that's really all it takes for me to buy that a play was written by a competent high schooler. It's got a good idea.
Got a good idea. It's got drama.
It's got drama. It's got characters.
Wait, but then Tom, I just want to make sure. Like, you're saying Toko is stupid just because she's so obsessed with imitating her sister.
I'm not saying that Toko is. I'm not saying Toko is stupid because she is obsessed with imitating her sister. I'm saying Toko is stupid because the idea of imitating her sister to this degree is stupid.
Yeah, Toko the character is not a stupid person. Toko as a character is a stupid idea.
Yes.
That's not something people do.
Yes, exactly. Like,
and
I can
story,
understand.
I think the context is important here. Because in a story that's otherwise a very grounded high school romance / coming of age story, We have a character
Yes.
who is doing some crazy, insane shit.
Yeah,
that is
no, that's
not the
very
kind of
unwell
story
of
that the
her.
rest of this narrative is set up to be.
Yes. Like initially, like you get the idea, like you get the idea that like Toko has a lot more going on than you think she does, and it's like, all right, this girl has problems she needs to work out. By the end of it, you're like, oh no, she's actually mentally unwell.
This girl needs to be committed. I see.
And needs to be committed. Yeah.
Oh,
Like nobody
no,
is.
no. Actually, that's brilliant. Now that I think about it, because the entire show is about Toko trying to be committed.
What? What does that mean?
It's a pun. She wants
Yeah,
to
it's
be
a pun.
committed to Orange Girl, but she needs to be committed
Yeah.
to an asylum.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course.
I like. Okay, so
Like,
when I
if, like-
saw Toko, did you have like
No,
more?
go for it, James.
I just want. Yeah, go.
When I saw Toko's thing where she was like, my sister is gone, and the person that I was up till this point was not a person worth being,
Mm-hmm.
so I will become the person that she was to me. It's like that she was to everyone, and she heard people saying like, you have to be strong, you have to honor your sister's memory, and she took that incredibly literally and very far. And it sort of reminds me a little bit of so I had like two family member deaths like very close together at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like experiencing that just generally made me a more responsible human, but in a weird, like, I did not consciously make the choice I will become more responsible. I just sort of felt this weird shift inside of me, like it was as if the cosmic energy of the fact that I knew those two to be incredibly responsible and respectable individuals, kind of like it was like the idea that they don't exist anymore. I have to put that energy forward now. I have to do this. I have to, you know? And so like to me, Toko's reaction is like a very extreme version of that reaction
Yes.
that I had, and so I found it very believable.
Yeah,
actually,
no, I think
I'm
what's-
unwell,
I
so.
think that general idea isn't bad. I think that the idea of Toko saying, "Hey, my sister was the absolute perfect person, and I can feel this absence in my life," that makes me hyper aware of how worthless I am by comparison.
Yes.
So I am subconsciously striving to emulate this person, and then from that point, realizing that your sister is not the person you thought she was, that's compelling. But the way it's framed as, I need to literally take the place of this dead person. Oh no, this dead person is complicated and contradictory, as all people are, and therefore I cannot be this person the way I would like to be. Oh no, my mind crumbles.
Also, if
That
other
doesn't
people
work.
if other people like your father try to help you and say, you actually don't need to do this, right? We will love you regardless. She gets mad and is like, no, wrong.
To be fair,
Incorrect.
To be fair, the scene under the bridge with Orange Girl saying, "Hey, you don't have to do this," and her saying, "I would rather die than hear that again."
Yeah.
Incredible.
You know
That
what?
was back when
I'll give it up.
That was back when I still had faith in this show to do this plot line with some sense of justice.
Yeah.
That to me was the start of something, and it was an excellent start.
Really good start. I will say though, if an actual reasonable adult, which Koito is not,
High school
obviously.
students.
They are high school students. But if a reasonable adult heard Toko say that in that type of manner, she would be institutionalized immediately.
I don't think so. I
I
think
think
that's a bit
saying
extreme, yeah.
I would rather die. I would rather die than
Mhm.
ever hear anybody disagree with my worldview in the way that, like, you'd be like, all right, this person it sounds like she wants to hurt herself. Let's not.
Who doesn't?
Let's
dude?
not. Okay, all right, fucking. But I also think that's a running theme with Toko. There's so many things that she says and does that are just like completely unhealthy.
I mean,
Even in the beginning of the show, it's like, okay,
in a sense,
all right.
Toko's entire worldview with this whole I want to replace myself with my sister, that is self-harm. That is suicide.
Yes.
Just in a sense.
Something, ego death.
Yeah.
Sure. But that's why I'm like, she needs help. She needs fucking help.
Nobody's disputing that.
For as good as that scene is.
Mm-hmm. No, like, the idea of Orange Girl under this bridge with a woman whom we have just realized is incredibly mentally ill. Very good scene. And seeing how each of them moves on from that point was the promise of the rest of the show. And it just kind of didn't do much.
Instead, it was like, anyway, back to the romance.
Mm-hmm. Back to the slightly more complicated romance now that we have this out in the open.
Well, wait, are you talking about Sayaka?
What? No? No.
No.
Wait,
No,
speaking of Psych, I finally found that fucking post.
Post?
Oh god.
It was the meme that they were looking for.
Meme?
Yeah, they literally
Okay,
told
so
you
it wasn't
about
a
it.
Meme?
Okay, so it was not a meme.
Oh.
When I saw Sayaka reacting to the way that Tangerine and Toko were getting close to each other, I thought of this post. It is a screenshot of a Twitter post that I found on Tumblr. It goes, it's translated from someone's typing in Japanese. So like someone typed this up in Japanese and Google Translate translates it as, "It's amazing that people fall in love with their friends' boyfriends. I hate all my friends' boyfriends. Give back my friend." And for extra context, someone has written, Google Translate does not capture the tone switch, so I have to say, the first two sentences are like, normal, maybe kind of feminine posting tone, and the last is like, shonen manga protagonist, action movie hero.
Can we just post this?
Here's our adventure
in the
character.
Discord?
The tone you would use if you were holding a gun with the safety off. Give back my friend.
Wonderful. But since Tenek did get us on that topic, let's talk about the more compelling romance.
Actually, I mean, before we move that on, I actually ours, like they didn't comment too much while we were talking about this school play stuff and the meta text there. So like, I just want to ask, do you think like it's as problematic or as stupid as Tom and Brian think?
Okay, so my thing is, one of my favorite things for a show to do is to say the same thing but a little bit different, like over the course of time, like just like essentially orbiting around the same concept and saying it's like this, but it's also like this, but it's also like this, but it's also like this. It's like forming like a more complete view of the object, and in that way, like I liked the school play idea in the sense of like I got that Toko wanted to emulate her sister who is gone now, but the idea that like because she knows her sister but does not know her, because she knows and loves her sister but does not know or love herself, like she has essentially become like a vessel upon which other people can project. Like it's like that was definitely like an idea that was somewhere percolating in the back of my mind, but I am a person who finds it very hard to succinctly articulate shit, so I really liked when shows do that thing that that ExPoint says makes you think the show thinks you're stupid. So...
Okay, so we're on the same side. I'm glad.
I don't know. Who's to say?
Jams is very forgiving.
I'm glad I'm not alone on.
No, I'm over here with the machete. Like, I swear to God, if you say this one more time, I will make a blood oath to kill you and then drown you in my own blood.
To James's point, I'm actually on board with the idea that a series or a show will take one concept and explore it in a whole bunch of different ways, right? I don't think that is what the series here is trying to do. I think the series here is trying to explore this concept, right? It gives you the concept of like, oh, she's trying to become her sister, right? And then, okay, well, her sister is not who she really thinks she is, right? They're not trying to explore that in a whole multitude of slightly different ways over and over again. It's giving you one really heavy-handed way to the point where it's like nauseating, man. Like, I'm like, okay, I get it. And then the next episode, they hammer the same idea home again. It's like, okay, I get it. And then the next episode, and that it goes on for like four or five episodes, and the series doesn't even end with the conclusion of that conflict.
Not to mention the conclusion they do come up with. Like it's a revelation that you can be more than one kind. You can act in more than one way sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying not to harp too much on this idea. Because I'm trying to think back on when I was in high school. Did people have the emotional maturity to realize that you don't have to pick one? And yes, they did.
Yeah.
I think that the idea of coming into this play and having somebody come up to you while you're writing it and say, hey, I have this brilliant idea for an ending. What if she doesn't pick one? I don't even know how to articulate what I'm trying to say other than to say, that all you got?
Look,
I think,
as somebody who
I feel like, as somebody who wrote a lot in high school, I think that is the kind of ending that I would come up with on a first draft and think, oh, this is pretty good. Like,
yeah.
I think that if somebody came up to me, if I had written this play, and somebody had to come up to me and say, you know, for the ending, what if she doesn't pick one? I would feel like I had failed. Because I would be sitting there saying, fuck, yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah. Shit, yeah, that is the good ending.
That's the ending. That's the obvious ending. That's how this has to end. Because people are multifaceted and contradictory by nature? Because obviously they are. Because any person knows that. So what's the conflict, Toko?
Yeah, as somebody who is a big fan of the Persona franchise, I look at a show like this and I go like, those games explore this concept, the same exact concept, in a multitude of different ways. That's what these games are about, right? Essentially. To have the series sit you down and hammer it home over and over and over again and treat it like some big revelation. It really feels like babies first. But at the same time, like it is so, it's like super smart. It's like, yeah, man, we did it. Like we won the World Series. Like we're off to the, like, we fucking pop the champagne bottles. But it's like it doesn't move me. And again, like we said before, this is probably made for a younger audience who has not seen that much, right? But at the same time, I don't think even then those kids, those 17 to 21 year olds, they're still playing Persona, man. Like it's crazy popular with the kids. I know. I can't. They won't leave me alone. No, none of the kids will shut the fuck up about it, right? So like for a show like this to kind of like almost pat itself on the back that it came up with this idea is like, all right, fucking okay.
Veronica mentioned something important, and that is going back to the idea that Toko's quote unquote craziness isn't grounded in the narrative. Because when compared to Yu's very relatable issue of not feeling the way you want to feel all the time, Toko just doesn't vibe. And I think that's the bigger part of the problem than Toko's specific neuroses. I think that Toko's narrative itself could work as the plot of the show. If the
Yes.
show were exclusively about Toko having this weird mental issue where she feels like she has to literally become her sister, and then the entire show is about her discovering the different ways in which that idea is not possible or practical, that could be a show.
Yeah.
But it's not a show if she's just doing this in the middle of an otherwise normal high school romance.
Well, not normal,
Sure.
right? It is
Rainbow
themed.
it's one of the rainbow themed ones,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as much as we would like to say it is normal, people are not going to treat it as normal. So it becomes
Speaking
special.
of saying not treating it like it's normal, something Sayaka's situation.
Yay, Sayaka!
Yay, Sayaka.
For the second anime club in, 3 or 4 months, we're going to have an extensive conversation about how Sayaka is the best character.
You
Okay,
say in
don't
3 or
get
4
in-
months. They're subsequent months.
Madoka was last month?
Yes.
Yeah, Monaco
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, what's wrong with me?
We
Well,
just
for the
did
second
Madoka.
anime club in a row, we're gonna have a
Yeah,
very
we're-
long conversation about how Sayaka is
Yo.
the best character.
Back-to-back jacks, okay? Sayaka is fantastic.
Honestly, I thought she was too static. Like, I mean, I like the idea, like her relationship with Toko, but then like it doesn't go anywhere. She's just kind of cucked by the whole situation, even not putting you in the picture, and
I do agree.
she doesn't do anything
Uh,
about it.
I do agree. I don't think that makes her not the best character. Just like,
I
Yeah.
also think that's a little bit of the point.
yeah,
Is that she's cucked.
I think comparing her to the other characters in this series, even though she doesn't progress very much, she is still the best character. Like, this is one
I
of
don't know,
those,
I think I liked Koito
remember
more.
how we talked so much about, I think it was episode 6 of, the fuck's Oshinoko. Episode 6, or not
Yes.
the episode of Oshinoko. Every now and then you will have a character arc in a show that is presented in one episode, and that's all you need. And I think with Sayaka,
Yeah.
we've got the equivalent of that here. Like, we have her fumbling about through the whole story, and we get the general idea that she feels like she belongs at Toko's side and she is being supplanted, and that is compelling. And I love her attitude toward you. I love her vision of herself, how she holds herself. Just a very compelling character. And then we have the episode where we find out what it's all about. And it's a brilliant episode.
Where we find out that she is actually not just seems gay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's an especially good episode because I was afraid of that episode happening. Because I really love the idea of this person who does not have a romantic attraction to Toko being supplanted by someone who does. Or, it's complicated, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Back my friend.
And I was afraid that they were going to just turn this into a love triangle. And then they did, and I loved it. And that's really hard to do. So, like, as much as we're harping on this show for the really, really stupid writing decisions at the end, I think it's especially frustrating because we know they can do this. They are good writers.
I think when you remove Koito from the see, this is why I don't call her that. When you remove Koito from the situation at all, just take her out completely, and you just have scenes of Sayaka and Toko. I actually like Toko as a character. She's not insane.
Well, only because you're not seeing the whole picture.
Well, yes and no, right? You are getting some of the picture, obviously, but not the whole one. But also, most of those scenes with Koito and Toko are not of, Toko's craziness. It's with them making out or doing other shit. I don't know.
I'm sorry. What
My
was
point
your
is-
point? You kind of lost
My
me.
point is that Sayaka makes me like Toko as a character.
How or why?
Because like Toko gives just enough to Sayaka to their relationship, to their dynamic, to make her a more compelling and less stupid character, right? But with Koito, she goes too far in the other direction. Like she pushes past the point of me being like, okay, yeah, I like them. But now I just find them annoying. Right? I think when you're with when Toko is with Sayaka, Sayaka is just calm enough, just cool enough to rein Toko in and be like, hey, we can still have these conversations, we can still talk. But obviously there's a dynamic here that like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, maybe it's a little hard to pinpoint like an exact scene.
Sayaka like intuitively clocks that there is something about Toko that is deeply unwell, and the way that she navigates around this is by actively like kind of like it by actively trying to make it clear to Toko, hey, I will never push your boundaries on this, but I will also always be a safe person to speak to. I will
That's a really good
always
way of putting it.
walk as close as I can to you, but I will never try to walk closer than you want me to be.
Yeah, that's a fantastic
And
way of putting it.
And that's why she has to be on the cock chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me when you have a character in that situation to see if the Toko equivalent responds more to the one who is pushing or the one who's giving space. Because I don't think either mentality is inherently wrong. I think it's good to give people space when they want it, and I think it's also good to push for people to be more open, because sometimes they need it. And they are not going to do it themselves.
Well, I think
are you saying
Sayaka...
Koito is the one who's pushing her?
More or less, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I think she's very passive as a character. I don't think I would agree that she does any kind of pushing.
As the series goes on, Koito pushes her more.
Yeah, she yells at her under a bridge and explicitly says, hey, I know what's going on with you and you don't have to do it like that.
Actually, all right. I failed to consider that.
Yeah.
I would very much like to push for you to be more open.
Sayaka is not going to yell at Toko, but Sayaka is going to sit there with Toko and ask her questions and make sure she is okay and not push her boundaries, right? But if she wants to open up, she will. And that's why Toko opens up to Sayaka during their whatever trip. Whatever the study trip that they went
summer
on.
rehearsal thing.
Yeah.
The beach
Which is like a
episode.
really good scene. And that one scene honestly makes me way more invested in their relationship than Koito and Toko's.
Same.
It's like she opens up to Sayaka first, and but also two, she kind of like also that scene is so fucking tasty to me because like okay, when Koito found out that the records of 7 years ago were gone, she assumes that Toko took them for whatever reason. Like she's like, I don't know why she's fixated on 7 years ago. But like for whatever reason she is, and she probably like took them out of circulation for, I don't know, Toko reasons. Then we find out no, Toko didn't choose to do that. That was Sayaka trying to protect Toko from having to confront those memories.
Which I think is very irresponsible, but also very thoughtful. Like, I think that is the wrong thing to do, but I think she did it for very good reasons. And that...
Wait, I'm actually confused a bit about the continuity. So, wait, like, I thought Toko knew the whole time. I mean, obviously she knows for years ago. And I would assume she knew that her sister was in the student council and that she was making this play. So, what would the documents tell her that she didn't already know?
My interpretation was that Sayaka took the documents to keep other people from finding out.
Oh, okay. Just
Oh, I was thinking like she took them in the sense of words. Hold on, I almost have it. I was thinking
Words.
that Sayaka took the documents in the sense of like, if Toko is presented with a new avenue to like fixate upon and investigate into her older sister, she will take it, and that would be bad.
Fair.
I'm on board with both those interpretations. I think both of them could work very easily together.
But like, what I'm seeing here is I am seeing someone who is more or less aware of what's going on with Toko. Maybe not the full extent of it, but she has an idea that something is wrong and an idea of what that something is. Who is going out of her way to make sure that the thing that is wrong with Toko isn't confronted. And I think I see that this person thinks that is the right thing to do, and I don't agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's twofold. I think she probably is hiding that as like a, I don't want other people to find out. I don't want Toko to, think about this, and that in itself is unhealthy. But it's a thoughtful gesture, right? To try and protect this person that you care about. But that it doesn't mean that Sayaka is completely like, hey, don't talk about this, don't think about it, block out your emotions. Like, Sayaka obviously still cares and wants Toko to open up about the things that are bothering her. I just think probably she doesn't want, well, first of all, she doesn't want other people to know, right? Or like for it to get around the school. And she doesn't want other people to, or rather, she doesn't want Toko to have like a trigger, right? I think Sayaka probably thinks Toko is in a position where if she has too bad of a trigger, she could get worse, right? Whether or not these documents would be something that's triggering for her, who knows? But I think Sayaka probably realizes that and is like, well, let me just take them. Let me get rid of the issue.
We are removing the variable.
I think you're right. Let me just throw something out there that I find to be an interesting interpretation.
Hello?
And this is not good literary analysis, because this is just me treating Sayaka like a real person. But just to throw this on the table, I am under the impression that Sayaka took the documents because she didn't want anyone else to find out about Toko, and I do think that's for Toko's sake. But what do you all think of the idea that having this knowledge makes Sayaka feel special?
That she feels special. I was thinking about that too.
I thought that was a part of her character.
She is the only person who knows this about Toko, and she likes that.
The only pushback I would say, right, is when what's her name? Koito is like I think it's the scene, they're like at vending machines or something and they're talking about like Sayaka specifically says something along the lines of like, if you wanted to know more, research into 7 years ago.
Well,
I don't think she said research into. Specifically said ask Toko about 7 years ago.
Oh, ask Toko about. Well then.
And see what happens.
I thought she said research into or like look into it. As like a like. No, I guess she wasn't trying. I don't know if she explicitly said anything about the documents. I don't think she did. But like, if she didn't want other people to know for the sake of like being special to Toko, I don't think she would have said anything at all at that point. Like, this person who is clearly like coming in and getting a lot of Toko's attention, and Sayaka feels like she's losing her relationship to Toko a little bit because of this person, she simply wouldn't say anything to the idea of like 7 years ago something happened. She just wouldn't allude to it. Like, So I could get behind the idea that Sayaka thinks she's special to Toko because she has this information.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think
Conversely,
that
Reed,
scene.
it's a power play. She's dangling
Yep.
the fact that she knows this information in front of
Oh,
in
you
front of Tangerine, and like she's dangling the fact she knows this information, and she is confident that Toko would not tell her, like would not tell anyone else.
I could see that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily buy that, but that would be my response to that.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah. I mean,
now-
look, like I said.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like I said, like it's I mean, I don't think this type of interpretation I would read Toko at all, or not Toko, Sayaka at all for. But I could buy that. I could buy that as an excuse.
Mhm. So now I feel like we should dive into a little bit about Sayaka's actual problems. Which, as Kinda Loner puts it, Sayaka is a different kind of supportive friend. Personally, as I've said before, I really like the way they handled Sayaka's backstory. I was afraid that they were just going to have her be like a spurned childhood friend who's had a crush on Toko forever. But seeing that they didn't even meet until high school after Sayaka had this very relatable traumatic experience in her youth with her ex-girlfriend. I don't know. That was just much more compelling to me than I expected it to be. And I think they could have been a little bit less heavy-handed about it. But the idea itself works really well. I was impressed by it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Look, I don't have the experience that other, probably lesbians would have of like Sayaka being in this relationship and thinking that it was real and feeling that it was real, and then that person being like, well, it was just a phase, like we'll both get over it, like it won't mean anything, whatever. And then to go even further, that person coming back years later and going,
That was
oh,
a
I'm
little
really
silly.
sorry. Like, I'm really sorry that happened, that I changed you or I hurt you. Clearly neither of us are like that. Like, I don't have that experience, so I can't speak to it personally. But it is moving, right? Like, to have somebody be like, oh, I changed you for the worse. I'm really sorry for that. And it's like, no, you actually, like, even though, yeah, you did something mean, right? Like, you helped me discover myself. And for you to actually apologize for that, like it's wrong, right, is kind of like, fuck you, man.
I do love when people apologize for the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
And for Sayaka to see
Wait, but
Toko
isn't the wrong
immediately
thing-
and get like, well, go ahead.
I mean, I wanted to say the wrong thing is that she led her on. She led Sayaka.
No.
She's
And then
not
just kinda, like,
apologizing
dropped
for
her.
leading her
Yeah,
on.
that's
she's
not what she's
apologizing for turning her
apologizing
gay.
She's
No.
apologizing
Yeah.
for
She
turning
goes
her
up and
gay.
she says, "Yeah, I don't want to make any assumptions, but if you just found me so irresistible that now you are trying to find some shadow of me in other women,
Yeah.
then I apologize for turning you gay."
Like that's
And I thought
that's
that was a
fucked up.
great scene, except insofar as it was a little contrived.
Yes,
Like,
I mean, I thought that was
Facebook
contrived,
message.
but also, yeah, absolutely. But also, I loved just like the petty clapback
Mm-hmm.
of Sayaka running up to Toko and grabbing her by the hand and being like, like, it's fine. You don't have to apologize for anything.
I forgive
don't know
you."
why you would even bother. Yeah, like, fucking, it was so good. I love that a lot. But that scene is also, I don't know. It's kind of treated like an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
It is
kind
just
for me. That's
wedged
like
in there.
It did feel
It's-
like it was
it-
in there out of obligation.
yeah,
Like it felt like they
out of
had this scene
obligation.
and they knew that people were going to be upset that it happened, so they had to go in there and be like, "Oh no, she's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah.
She's not upset that she's gay."
It also seems like a scene, like to me at least, it felt like that was the end of it. It's like, all right,
Mhm.
we're done with that conflict now. Don't worry about it anymore.
Well, we have to focus on this woman literally stepping into the skin of her dead sister. We can't focus on these grounded
Yeah.
grounded high school drama. This is a strange story, didn't you know?
Stepping into the skin of yeah, but I like Sayaka a lot because of that. Like it's just so, and then that's where it's like the scene after is like, oh, why are you holding my hand? And Sayaka's like, oh, I'm sorry, and Toko's like, nah, it's fine, you know, let's keep holding hands. Like that's so cute. That's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
That was way cuter. That was way cuter than the holding hand scene with Koito and Toko.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
it does
really
remind me of
love-
the scene in Yamada's First Time where she is walking home in the rain with Boy, whose name I don't remember, and she just like has to get close to him under the umbrella, and she just thinks, I hope his house is kind of far away.
Yeah.
It's just really cute.
I think it's also for that scene it works because like Sayaka, who is normally a lot more mature and, you know, emotionally stable and is calm and collected, to see her get flustered over stuff like that and to be rewarded with the hand holding. It's like, yeah, you know. I just like her a lot. I like them a lot. Fuck Koito, worst character, got in the way of Sayaka.
Yeah.
I really love, okay, there's this like, the thing about the hand holding is that like it's so interesting to me how different it's like, how do I explain? It's like the way that Toko acts about holding hands with Sayaka is very different about the way that Toko acts about holding hands with Koito, in part because she actively has a crush on Koito, but also in part I think because she's already kind of gotten to a stage in her relationship with Koito where they're just like not routinely holding hands, but like holding hands is no longer the biggest of deals. And then she realizes in this moment, there's this like the moment when she goes, no, we can hold hands still, like to her to the friend that she is closest to. It has this really interesting like set of layers to it, in the sense of like it's her kind of stepping into for the first time the idea that there are complexities behind intimacy. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like I guess I don't have anything to say beyond that, but it's like
okay.
it's a good little seed.
Yeah, no, I like that idea.
Me too.
Well,
Yep.
Sayaka's done.
All right.
Yeah, I just
I want to talk about Maki.
What is there to talk about?
Well, it's like,
The
okay,
goat.
so my thing about Maki is he's like an interesting lens into like this thing that keeps coming up in the narrative about like exclusivity almost. Like in the sense that like I think part of the reason that Toko had that like fireworks moment with Toko had the fireworks moment with Koito is because the idea of like she is seeing into this moment in Koito's life that literally no one else is seeing into, like, and she is part of the reason that Koito like built up the courage to reject the boy that had confessed to her all those weeks ago. It's like being the person who Koito reached for her hand and like held on to it like for support, for like a moral support. Something about like having like a piece of like her investment in this person rewarded with like trust and further investment, and this moment in time where she like self-actualizes a little bit, like the exclusivity of that is a draw like to Toko. And in that same way, like Maki reflects this theme of exclusivity as well as Sayaka, but Sayaka we already talked about with the exclusivity thing, but Maki reflects it a little bit in the sense that like he is so enchanted by like just being the spectator to these two girls in particular because he is the only one who knows like the full picture. Like he is the only one in their circle who knows this is going on, and he's drawn by that and by how unique this relationship is. He's like, this is amazing, I love, it's electric. And then in that moment where he like during the sports festival when he and Tangerine, I keep forgetting her name, they're talking and he explicitly states the thing that I immediately thought when it was like described, when like the narrative described like his experience of like being the person that girls talked to a lot about like advice for romance, or like getting to watch other people do romance and being very happy with that, but being very like no thank you about being directly involved in it. Like he's speaking to the main character and he clicks, he's like, oh, we're the same, and she's like, yeah, I guess we are. And it's like, it's so interesting how like she found it so like enamoring to be the same as Toko, but when Maki says this, she's like, well, yeah, I guess we are. Like it's not as big of a deal. It's like, and it's like it's this whole like system of like, I don't know what it's saying about exclusivity. I just feel the need to lay out all the pieces so that maybe somebody else in the chat can help me.
Well, I think that scene that you're referring to, I don't know about the point of exclusivity, but I think that scene you're referring to is the turning point of Koito as a character, because as you said, like, yeah, she was really excited to be like, oh my God, like, you also feel this way, Toko? Like, that's awesome. Like, I feel the same way too. Like, I don't have these romantic feelings for people. And to have that same interaction later in the show after everything with Toko is happening with somebody who is actually a romantic is like, okay, the narrative then is telling us like, oh yeah, you're not aromantic. But yeah, I don't know. I think you bring up good points about like, I mean, it's not something that I at all noticed. But I think you bring up good points about like exclusivity and like how Maki wants to be his own exclusive viewer, kind of. Like, I think he finds like he kind of revels in the idea that only he can watch this relationship play out because they're keeping it a secret. Only he knows, and he's fucking cool for it. Like, it's funny.
He's a little
He
grim.
is vibing, he is thriving, he is in his lane.
Yeah. And I don't know, I don't know the feeling of like that aromantic people have, right? I'm not, so I don't know how they feel. But I would hope that Maki is like a fun representation for them. You know what I mean? To be like, no, I'm not actually interested in relationships, like I don't care. But I like watching.
Yeah.
Like I think it's really funny for somebody to ask him out and be like, "You're a great listener. I want to go out with you," and him be like, "What the fuck? No, what?
Can you go out with Tom instead?"
Yeah, can you? Yeah.
I think now that we've been having this conversation, I think Bloom Into You did something really impressive. Because it has a character, a male character, who goes up to a lesbian couple and says, "Hey, can I watch?" And we're all over here like, "Yeah, he's the best boy,
Yeah, he's awesome.
incredible, lovely man."
Amazing. Mwah. Not best character, to be clear. My fave.
Like, yeah, absolutely. But it's like
I think
it's
you
because
finish.
right? He's like he's totally innocent about it.
Mm-hmm.
If he was a creep, you'd be like, yeah, okay. But like he's just like, nah, I just want to see you guys like kiss and hold hands and stuff like that. Like, come on,
He's
it's
so
awesome.
straightforward and benign about it. He's just over here like, hey, when was the last time you guys went on a date? Like, is it like he's like actively wingmanning Tangerine at one point,
But
where,
purely
like,
selfishly.
where she asks him, "Hey, are you studying sometime?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I'd love to study." Sees Toko behind her, goes, "Oh well, I'm actually pretty busy, but you two should have a lot. You two should have fun." Turns around and leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if Maki even cares if the relationship works out. He just wants to see sparks fly. Like, he just wants to see something going on.
No, he's just over here like, yeah, this sounds like drama. Let's go. Meanwhile, we also have Dojima in the student council. It's like, oh man, I would love nothing
him.
more than to see those two make out, and I don't even care who those two are. Just pick two.
Pick two.
And we all hate him. He's the worst.
Yeah.
I like him. I find that entertaining, honestly.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
they're-
sure,
In
he's fun to
incredibly
watch.
small doses.
He's fun to hate. He shows up exactly the right amount of times.
Yeah, unlike Maki. I wish I don't have anything to say on everything that you've said about Maki. I feel like it would have just been nice for him to be more of a recurring side character. Like, I mean, you talked about that conversation he has with Koito, and that's like the only really important thing he does.
Mm-hmm.
Even like earlier when he spots them kissing, that's not important.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there to establish his character.
No, he is very important as a point of contrast.
I
But,
guess.
I mean, we've already had this conversation, but the way that Orange Girl doesn't feel
Is not actually a romantic.
doesn't feel that euphoria when she allegedly finds exactly what she's been looking for, and it turns out that exactly what she's been looking for is a man, and that sucks. And so she doesn't care. And she doesn't like reflect on that at all.
No.
Honestly, what are you talking about?
When she finds quote unquote another aromantic person, but that person is a man, so she's not excited about it and she doesn't question that.
Oh, okay.
Like, she spends the entire first episode saying, like, oh, I feel so alone. Because everyone in the world is so into this romance thing. And I really wish I were into this romance thing, but I'm not. And I'm the only person in the world who feels like that. And then she just blows up with fireworks when she finds Toko, who is allegedly aromantic. But then nothing happens when she finds an actually aromantic guy, and she just doesn't examine that.
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit.
Baffling. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything important we haven't talked about yet?
Dude, we haven't talked about Koito, like, at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
shit,
I
you're
mean,
right.
Honestly, the main
There is
character,
something-
we have not talked at all about her.
See, we went into this conversation about how the main characters don't have chemistry, and I think part of the reason that is because there's only one main character.
Yeah, very funny.
Like,
But I didn't want to actually bring something up regarding Koito, which is I want to ask, what do you think her motivation for actually engaging with Toko's chicanery is?
curiosity.
Pure
Loneliness.
Curiosity.
I think it's like, okay, so the way that I sort of interpreted their situation is like the idea that they both, like I said with the journal thing, like they both want like a kind of like companionship that they want like a feeling of companionship and belonging, and and it's like Tangerine. Believes, she believes that she believes the things that she hears in like all of the musics and the movies about how like the deepest form of companionship you can possibly have with another person is like the romantic, like butterflies in your stomach, stars in your eyes sort of feeling. um and because she's never felt this, she's like, am I just doomed to never be like deeply involved with anyone? Am I doomed to be lonely forever later in my life? And it's like, and meanwhile, Toko does not consider herself viable for like romance as a person, um, for multiple reasons. And it's sort of like, what I they both want companionship, but um, shoot, where was I going with this? Ah, damn it!
I don't know.
Someone else start talking.
Anyway, I think that this basically wraps into loneliness and curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she just hopes
I think she's
bloom
lonely
into
and
her.
curious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I think she feels like she is isolated because she doesn't have this feeling that everybody else seems to have, and she is curious about what it's like, and so she goes for it, even though, because she knows somebody has a crush on her, and she wants to have a crush on them too, and she does think that she's hot, and she does enjoy all the kissing and stuff, and so she goes for
I
it.
don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not entirely sure about it. I guess maybe if you read it that way, it makes more sense, because I was thinking during the second like kissing scene, where like, okay, obviously like Toko initiates it, like she does most of the things, and then Yu's just kind of like, yeah, all right. I'm like, why?
The second time,
And
sure, I guess, but I don't remember if it's the first or second time actually, but Toko outright says like, "Hey, can I kiss you?" And Yu says like something to the effect of, "Yeah, that sounds fun as long as you don't like get the wrong idea."
Yeah, that, I mean, the first time it was forceful, so it is the second time when they're in the student and the guy sees them, Maki, Maki-kun, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with you, I always like, I think her, well, I think the idea that I had in my head about where the character was going is,
my goodness, Tom. You just put the
What-
idea
what-
in my
what's-
head of an anime dubbed with characters named you and I. Oh my god.
No.
It could happen.
It sure could.
It sure could happen. I is a very, well, not very common, but it is a name.
It's common enough.
Oh, and
It's
what
common
about this?
enough.
A Chinese character that's called she.
Just throw every pronoun you can into the mix. When I like, my first idea about Koito as a character, I thought it was going to be more of like, what is love? Like, what is that feeling? And her discovering that it's not all the same. Like, you know, like the type of really explosive butterflies that people feel in media and, you know, people talk about all the time. That's love. But you can also feel love in a different way, and it be this whole thing where it's like she doesn't feel what others feel, but that doesn't make it any less real, like a real love emotion, right? And her discovering that.
I mean, I don't know.
That wasn't how it played out. But I thought
because
her character probably would have been better for that.
Right, if they had to like to make the moment where she blooms into her trademark actually involve the kind of love that's not the kind she has in mind at the start.
I'm glad that you said it like that, Tenek, because I only realized as I was doing a quick Google search here that the title, Bloom Into You, is a double entendre.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who is blooming into whom
Yeah, obviously.
here?
Who is blooming?
Are
into
they
whom?
blooming into each other? Is it about Orange Girl and Toko? Or is it about
Or is it
Toko?
blooming
Yeah.
into you?
Toko and
blooming into herself.
you.
I
The
always
title
assumed...
in Japanese, why can't I find it? The title in Japanese,
I mean,
apparently, according to Wikipedia, translates into eventually becoming you.
eventually
Oh.
becoming you.
Who's
Oh,
blooming
I
into
see.
whom here?
It's like eventually becoming, and then how Tangerine keeps saying how she wants to feel the way that Toko feels. She wants to become a person like Toko, as in like she wants to be able to reciprocate. She wants to be able to be the person who gets butterflies in her stomach and who blushes a bunch and who
Whereas
flushes about.
Toko wants to be someone else. Wants to eventually
Yeah.
become someone else.
Yeah.
Which I found very interesting.
I don't know, because I don't know the direct translation. I don't know how well that's translated of like becoming you,
I
right? Or
mean,
whatever the title was.
It seems pretty straightforward to me.
Eventually becoming you.
Yeah, like I don't know
Eventually
Japanese, but
becoming you.
yagate kimi ni naru. Kimi ni naru means to become you or becoming you,
Yeah.
and yagate means
Okay,
eventually. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
seems
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
straightforward
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, okay. If
Yeah.
that's I would imagine that. Well, then why did they well, I guess to just make it like have
Better
flowery
title.
dialogue, bloom into you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Excellent title, far as I'm concerned.
I mean, look, there isn't actually a lot of flowers in the show, aside from that one episode where they want to bring up that one species over and over again.
Well, which
The
color?
So if it wasn't for the
hydrangeas.
title,
Yeah, which color is your favorite?
Hydrangeas.
yeah, if it wasn't for that, I don't think Curry could have argued, or rather, that Brian, you could have argued this could be nominated. It would be
What do you mean I couldn't have
impossible.
nominated it? Oh, for Rainbow
No.
Theme.
No.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
rainbow.
yeah, you couldn't connect it to the rainbow thing.
Well, no. Well, because they're both gay, and gay people use the rainbow as a symbol of pride.
What? I thought it was
And
Rainbow
therefore it's
Month. Why are we
Rainbow
talking
Theme.
about gay people?
Oh. Oh, it finally comes out.
I could have done it. I could have stretched it a little
The
bit.
truth come out. Us blooming to you is gay.
I think if you gave me a little bit of leeway, I could have connected it to rainbows somehow, even with a different title.
I can't believe I've been rused.
You've been
like this.
duped.
Absolutely.
All right. What do we want to talk about specifically when it comes to Orange Girl? Because I don't think there is much. Like, it really does feel like she exists to be the person that that Toko's story bounces off of, just because the author didn't want Toko to be the main character, because then we would know all the secrets.
I like the idea that perhaps she embodies like this, like, because like she keeps thinking of love as a feeling, but then
Yeah.
she begins performing love as an action, like as in like she says, well, I want to be like I see Toko being the way that she is over me, and I want to be that way over her. I want to reciprocate that. I want to reciprocate her love because her love has moved me in this way. And so she starts doing love as an action as opposed to feeling love as an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, like, they're character foils, I guess. Not, they're like contrasts to one another, because Toko is very much not doing love as an action a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's all receiving, no giving, and then use the one all giving, not receiving.
I don't think
I mean,
that's
they
Not
so
do
much
say
what's going
very
on.
frequently that she's selfish and unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do like the contrast because I've always been of the opinion that love is not a feeling and love is not an action, love is a choice. So I very much like seeing a character who is making the active choice to love despite both actions and feelings telling her that this is not working out. That's compelling to me. I don't feel like the character is anything.
I mean, I think that comes down to the problem I mentioned before. I mean, that we agreed on the history, or rather that like the personalities specifically of the two main leads are kind of bland.
Yep. Like, I've been on this rant so many times before, but this show is so much worse because it keeps so many secrets from the audience for no reason. Like, imagine this show with Toko as the main character, where we have somebody who has an incredibly complicated and mentally unwell life story that we get to follow and explore for 12 episodes, instead of treating it as a very stupid reveal halfway through.
I don't think that would change anything.
I
think you're
Toko
dead
is still
wrong.
boring. I think Toko is still boring. You is still boring.
This has nothing to do with
you. I
you.
still only like this on
You
paper.
can be written out of the show for all I care.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, let's explore that idea a little bit. Let's write Orange Girl out of the show. What changes then? Is that we have Toko as a sole main character with a best friend who has a secret crush on her, who now no longer feels threatened by a romantic interest, but who is still vaguely aware of the complicated mental situation that's going on. There is now tension between Toko and Sayaka, where Toko doesn't want Sayaka to know the full details of her insanity. Which is conflict, as Sayaka slowly does figure out, but accepts her anyway. I personally feel like that is a much better show.
I understand where you're going. I don't know how you get there.
No, I mean, I honestly don't think the show would work without Koito. It would just be too static. Like, Sayaka would just accept...
don't think the show works without some romantic interests for Toko. I think you're right. I don't think that should be Orange Girl. I think we need someone a bit more interesting.
So it's like, so it won't just be Sayaka, it will be Sayaka and also one Toko.
Right.
Or will be related to Toko.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. It's too hard for me to imagine, to remove from what the show actually is.
To conceptualize one of the main characters just like up and disappearing, yeah, that's kind of hard. But I think it becomes radically different as a series.
Yep.
But I don't necessarily like dislike you. I don't dislike you. I think she's fine.
And that's the weird thing, is that through all this, I don't think she's a great character. I don't think she has much going on. I think the show would be much better if someone else were in it who had more personality, and I like her still.
Yeah, like
I want to rehome her.
Want to put her in a different show.
You just want to take her out.
Sorry, Stars, what did you say you want to do to
rehome her?
Oh.
Just put her back in Haikyuu where she belongs.
Me.
Okay, I have no clue what that means.
Hinata, what have they done to you?
Just because of that? Yeah.
Yeah, the small orange-haired protagonist. Yeah, I don't know. I like you enough. I don't think she's necessarily super compelling in her own arc, because her arc about like wanting to find this specific type of love or like not feeling the same, like it's all over the place. They never really stick to an idea. It really kind of feels like it's just kind of being pushed along, pushed along, pushed along. But I think that's part of the point because of Toko and who Toko is, just being like, I'm gonna grab you by the neck and drag you around, and you just letting her, right?
Mhm.
Like, she just kind of lets her and accepts that. And while I don't like their dynamic very much, I think it is interesting, or rather compelling. I think it is slightly compelling to see this character who isn't emotionally attached to this person be dragged around because they are emotionally attached to them. And how their relationship changes because of that, right? I don't think she has an arc necessarily, as she is a vehicle for this idea, for this premise.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, the biggest problem with the show.
Yeah, she needs more personal agency and more interest in the narrative. Like, I don't think Orange Girl cares what's going on. Like, outside of her own
I
romance.
think she cares.
That was bad phrasing.
I mean,
I
mean, but everything that is going on revolves or is like tightly, like the whole play is very much connected to Toko's character.
Mm-hmm.
You becomes very invested in that.
She just doesn't have much of a personal stake in anything. It's all about how things relate to Toko. And that's not fun.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem.
I don't know.
I think it's a problem for you specifically because it feels like she has no agency.
Well, he said it wasn't a problem for him.
The narrative. Oh, for him. Oh, I thought. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Stars, do you have anything to say on all this?
I think this is being covered quite well. My ability to weigh in on conversations is very much related to if it is of emotional significance or if it inspires emotions.
And we're talking about how much it doesn't.
Yeah.
True.
Wait, actually,
True.
You know, I feel like you've been awfully quiet this stream compared to normally. I think that might say a lot about this show. More than any words could.
All right. Should we get into closing thoughts then?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Personally, like I mentioned in the beginning, I was expecting a very bog standard romance that people overrated because the two main characters were female. And I did not get that. I got a rather interesting story with big ideas, characters who were a lot more complicated than I was expecting them to be, in what was legitimately a pretty good character drama. I thought parts of it were fucking stupid. But for the most part, I feel like this was worth watching. I understand why people like it. And I think that it was a good use of my time in general. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10, I think. Maybe a high 6. Danik, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd agree with that a lot. Like, as I said before, I think it's a very good show on paper. I really like the character dynamic. I think they're very original, interesting to just see. I definitely appreciate that. Like, it has a lot more plot than the romance show, especially that's just one core long. But again, I think like it comes back to the biggest problem that the characters, mostly the leads, the main characters, their personalities are too uninteresting. And I honestly wouldn't have a problem with dropping the show at any point simply because of that. Well, even if watching it up to the end wasn't like extremely taxing mentally.
It did feel like we just dropped it as soon as it ended. It does just kind of end.
It just ends.
And I have like zero interest in. So yeah, I think my rating would also be the same. I was thinking like either high 6 or 7.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's a 7 just to spite you on the school play stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, I also said a 7, so I don't understand.
Then
Yeah, so
7.
not that hard.
Just spite me a little bit.
Yeah.
Spite me by agreeing with me. I wish more people thought like you. Jams, what's up?
All right. Given everything, I think the fact that the two things I had the strongest emotions about were, oh my gosh, I love this boy that's been introduced in episode 4, the side character boy. I love him. He's my favorite now.
Man, this legendary and important Yuri show. My favorite thing about it, I love the boy.
I love the boy in it.
That kind of statement very much is one of the things that makes my partner say that you are a parody of yourself. But...
I was so bored until the boy showed up.
In one of the biggest Yuri shows of all time.
Until the boy showed up to watch, I just had no one I could relate to.
I've always related to the one boy in like casts that were mostly girls throughout my childhood. That's not the point. The point is, considering that and like the fact that the most I had to say in the chat was about the art style reminding me of Angelina Ballerina, but in a bad way, in the sense of like Angelina Ballerina did good and this did not. I don't like the art direction of this show, I'm gonna be honest. Like, listen, it's not badly animated. It's not ugly, but I don't like it. There's something about it that I dislike. Anyway, I'm just gonna give it like a 5 out of 10. Like this.
What?
This is,
No,
I respect it.
I understand that.
It, but
I'm really surprised.
I can't explain it.
I
like it really grew on me, but I can't like. The show grew on me at the end. And then after this discussion has happened, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that was not a waste of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Blink, blink. You know?
As much as I do understand that, I think you're forgetting the vast wealth of anime that exist. And what the average score of an anime is.
Okay, and you know what? Okay. I'm bumping my score up to a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, there you go.
That makes
there
more
we go. We're gonna be completely homogenous. No, this.
I mean, isn't that what you strive for as a writer? You want everyone to think that your story is a way.
I mean, hey, some people talk about this like a 10 out of 10, man.
Yeah.
Some people.
Tom, what's up?
I agree with most sentiments. I don't necessarily. I think I was the reverse of Jams. I think this show caught me off guard a lot in the beginning, and because it was so messy, that I was like, okay, yeah, like I can kind of vibe with this. But then like by the end, I was literally falling asleep. It was a struggle to stay awake. I finished this last night and I'm like, man, I want to go to bed. This is just putting me off. One general note, I don't think we talked about the soundtrack really at all.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I liked the soundtrack. Well, it was okay. There were some songs that reminded me of Kingdom Hearts, so I was like, yeah, I'm cool. Yeah. But this is a 6. It's a 6 out of 10.
6 makes sense to me.
You know. Yeah. I don't know if we're the audience, as we've said before. But you know, I think other people who get a lot more out of this show are like, they really enjoy it. So, you know, good for them. Shout out to those guys. But yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yo, shout out to the gays in the chat.
So, for next month, as it is the month of July, internationally recognized LGBT Wrath Month. Our theme is wrath.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Scrub. It is Wrath Month themed. You can Wrath. You can interpret that however you like, and I am going to interpret it in a way that lets me put forth now and then, here and there.
Oh, fuck.
I have no clue what that is.
Now and then, here and there is a very famous isekai from the mid-90s or the late 90s.
Oh, that one.
Yep,
okay.
It is highly touted as one of the best isekai of all time, and it is dog shit.
It's fucking awful, man.
It made me so angry that I can't imagine proposing anything else for Wrath Month. So that's mine. Who else has one? Who's up?
I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Paranoia Agent.
All right.
There's a murder spree.
That's pretty good for Wrath Month.
Okay.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I never interpreted what's his name, Yellow Boots. Lil Slugger is what they call him in the dub.
Lil Slugger.
I never
That's
interpreted
I think the only thing I know him by.
Him as being wrathful, but I've never seen it. So, Paranoia Agent. This, therefore, is wrath themed.
I think okay. So I was straight up searching around because like I realized I don't have many specifically anime that incur my wrath. It's other things for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So the closest thing that I have to offer for this coming Wrath Month is Honey Lemon Soda.
Oh, yep. All right. I'll give you that.
It's like I can't explain. I watched the first few episodes as it was coming out, and there was something about it that turned my stomach in a way where I was like, I don't want to feel this way, but I don't know if I don't want to feel this way because I feel like this deserves my respect, or if I don't want to feel this way because I have other personal hangups. It's like Honey Lemon Soda, for those who are not initiated, is supposedly a romance about a girl self-actualizing via getting into a relationship with this delinquent boy, and also something. Okay, it's really hard for me to succinctly describe things.
It's just a show of romance.
It invokes my wrath.
Yeah, I'm not finding any. Okay, all right. Do I want a good show that's about like wrath, that's about like vengeance, or do I want a show that made me really mad but is definitely going to lose?
I would vote the vengeance one. We need to round out this cast.
You know what? Okay. How about 91 Days?
Never heard of it.
I'll suggest 91 Days.
Wait, that's right.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
91 Days was a it was a mobster show.
I've seen this. I've seen this around. I haven't watched it.
The premise is
you've seen this, or
I have seen it around.
He was a child by mobsters, then he becomes a mobster, and something about a deadline of 91 days where he finds out a thing in order to carve a path through the mob in order to kill this one guy.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, that's what it boils down to. I haven't watched this show since it came out. I don't remember if it's still that good. I liked it at the time, so I'll give it up.
I remember where I've seen this from. It was Jeff's What's in an OP video where he watched the OP of a show he hadn't seen and predicted what the show was about.
Oh, I do remember that video.
Mm-hmm.
That was from a long time. Yeah. I do remember that video. I think I watched I had watched the show before seeing that video.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But yeah, 91 days.
4-hour Wrath Month suggestions. Now and then, here and there, Paranoia Agent, Honey Lemon Soda, and 91 Days. Any last-minute changes?
One of these things is not like the others.
No. No.
All right, everyone. You have 7 minutes left to make 10 super chats to meet our goal of 10 super chats on stream again. So if anybody wants to give me money,
Pressure music.
you can go to patreon.com/explanationpoint to find out how. If you want to get in on this Discord call yourself so that you can join us on our monthly anime club discussions. If you want to have a say in what videos of mine get made when I decide I want to do that again.
Amen.
If you want to read my notes and scripts, if you want critiques on your own creative work, specifically YouTube videos, that would be great. If you want to join our Discord server or our Minecraft server or just all kinds of other sorts of things, you can go to patreon.com/explanationpoint, link in the description. And if you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. You can just give me super chat money and contribute to our goal of 10 super chats in the next 6 minutes. Thank you all for coming. I will see you next month for our Wrath-themed discussion. Bye-bye. Gooby, I'll miss you.
Commit violence.